I still think our last bastion of hope, which I still think can win if we got our act together, is labor. If we got together in a real cohesive labor movement, had like a national labor council that doesn't involve union bosses. Yeah. Oh, she's got the vest.
My vest.
You got your yellow vest.
Hey, I have one of those too. Hell yeah.
Isn't that cool? Right.
Yeah.
Like, this is what it's about, because the answer is not going to be in electoral politics. Like that, by the time we get that through or get into that, like it's just going to be, it's too trickling. Every once in a while. I mean, the fact that Katie Porter had to fight so hard for her seat is a sign that, it's not easy to get people in there that are going to be our people.
And how do we? Yeah. Because, obviously you went through, again, I hate the social media bickering and the fighting and the crap, and you know all about this very well. And we know who the biggest pot stirrers are. All I'm thinking is, these high profile people, if you will, and we know who the ringleader is, and anyone that is associated with him and any of the subsidiaries that are involved.
Subsidiaries.
Well, that's kind of how I look at it. What it is. Well, because he kind of does the same thing.
I just don't even like giving it airtime now, even without saying names. I don't like giving it airtime.
But the importance of this conversation is the fact that you could have been spending all of your time cultivating the labor movement, and instead you had this stupid pet project of a third party that was never going anywhere. It basically became a scam within itself. And instead, what we could have been doing was just figuring out ways to unite the Teamsters, coffee workers with Starbucks, obviously the Amazon workers, and of course the biggest one of all, which hasn't even really started yet but needs to, is Walmart. There are so many different ways that we could be uniting, and we're not seeing it. And that's where I think these independent media figures that have 1 million subscribers and do the same stupid shit over and over again.
Bitching about the same things.
Because they know it's going to make them money. Let's be honest. It's going to make them money.
They get a lot of clicks.
And they do. Where are they? I never see them, ever. And I never watch them, but I look at what videos they put out there. I never see any of them do any videos about how do we rally labor, ever.
No, well, they don't address issues. They just bitch and complain about each other.
Yeah, I think that if I'm being 100% honest with you all, my optimism and hope for indie media over the years has diminished. And it pains me to say that as a member of indie media, because I used to think, man, this is the answer to corporate media, right? We are decommodified. We own our own media apparatuses. So we are the future. But just like with traditional media, there's so many perverse incentives in indie media as well. There's these incentives that are, clickbait. How do you get more views? Because views translate into ad revenue. So eventually, like, you are kind of you're forced into this type of system to where you back yourself into a corner. And if you base everything on what's going to get you applause, then you kind of like these barriers kind of go up, and you may not realize it, but they're up. And once you deviate from that, you realize that, you're betraying the audience that you helped to cultivate. So this is what I call audience capture, right? Where you start saying something and you attract a certain audience, and then they kind of dictate where you go. And it's not the other way around, right? So they call it influencers, but a lot of these influencers are influenced by their audience, because once you get a little bit of taste of success, you don't want to lose that. And so for me, like, I realized back in and I've talked about this before, back in 2017 or whatever, I was cultivating a lot of right-wing followers because I was shitting on Hillary Clinton. Now, was I dunking on her from the left? I mean, this was the Democratic Party primary in 2016, so tensions were high, right? But that was when I just started, and I attracted a lot of right-wing followers because they didn't necessarily care that I was being nuanced and trying to shit on Hillary exclusively from the left. They just cared that I was shitting on Democrats, and my message was Democrats bad. So I realized that they were trying to box me in, right? So I did a video, and this is like the huge moment where I came to realize this. I posted about, what was it, Pizzagate or whatever, and I just shit on it. I'm like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. And that was the first video where I got mostly dislikes. And it's like, oh, part of it was cognitive dissonance, but it's also, I realized that I was cultivating this audience. So that's what these people have to be
they knew
mindful
you
of
from
that.
one thing in a good way. And then as soon as they really saw, okay, but that's just one thing. All right. I've had people like that like saw me on something like Tim Pool and thought, okay, she's cool. But then I'll say something else and they'll be like, okay, yeah, no. But we actually have a very diverse group in the chat. Like, I don't know, like we have a lot of different types of people.
Look, I just had to come on here specifically to tell you, Mike, that you're not supposed to talk about that pizza thing. It's really not good for your health in more ways than one. Jen, good to see you. Look, unfortunately, Hillary's, she's a very dangerous person, and I would advise people to mind their P's and Q's.
Or you could get Arkansided, like Epstein.
I don't even know that guy. There's no such thing.
Arkansided.
No, that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I wish that the Clintons were that cool. People make them seem like these like movie villains. It's like, no, they're just like boring old hacks. By the way, Bill, I've got to ask you since I have you on. I can't find this, and I'm playing into this, but I have to. There was a picture of you that was posted and you looked like you were near death. How are you doing?
Well, after a few trips to a private island with some very fine, what am I talking about?
I know you've been to that island.
I haven't been anywhere. Well, you know what I did, which was actually very smart. I started having a vegan diet. And what I found is that by eating healthy and exercising, imagine that regularly, instead of just going to McDonald's like I used to love to do, I decided to start eating healthy and exercising. And I did not inhale, so you can't prove anything. Ultimately, if you live a healthy life and you walk the straight and narrow, you'll avoid any of the pitfalls that come with getting in our way. But just remember, we still run the Democratic Party.
You should be in prison.
Hasn't changed.
Go away.
Just remember, I can never be sent to prison for a very specific reason. I signed the 94 crime bill into law. I am the law. I make the law. That's how it works.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.